Meizu. I'm sure quite a few of you have never heard this name before, but in a world where smartphones are becoming increasingly hard to tell apart, any company that can come up with something special deserves a video, at least in my book. And boy have they turned up with a bang. Their latest offering, the Meizu Pro 7 and Pro 7 Plus, come fully decked out with high-end specs, not to mention a special trick up its sleeve. Hey guys, this is Sundar, you're watching C4E Tech, and here's what you need to know about Meizu's not camera, that too, but the USB dual display devices. Let's get started. Now, this is not the first time someone has kitted out a smartphone with double displays. In fact, last year's V20 and even before that, the V10 came with a secondary display. But then LG's implementation was more of like a second always-on screen, functioning much like a glorified notification ticker like we saw on the Note Edge. Yotaphone's been doing a second e-paper display, Samsung occasionally comes out with flip phones with a second display, but Meizu have come up with completely different take on the second screen, pushing it to the back of the phone, just beating the dual camera setup. So why this positioning, you may ask? Well, this display is primarily to help you nail that perfect selfie using the bokeh effect from the portrait mode. We'll talk more about the cameras later, but first let me tell you more about what this secondary display can do. Yes, at 1.9 inches it is undoubtedly tiny, but then it doesn't need to be much bigger for the features that it has built in. At 240 by 536 resolution, with a very respectable 307 ppi, this full color screen lights up whenever you flip the phone around to its back. It can show you various notifications, display the time and weather, and even lets you control the music player. Add to that the panel being AMOLED, it wouldn't be a giant battery hog as well. If you hadn't already noticed, I'm quite excited about this feature. And while initial impressions look more than promising, we'll have to actually use the phone before we can deliver a final verdict. Should we import this one? Let us know in the comments below. Anyway, enough talk about the second screen. Let's now focus on the phone around it. From the pictures that we have seen thus far, the phone looks absolutely gorgeous. And why wouldn't it be? It's the work of the famed design studio, Frog. The geniuses behind the distinctive design of the early Macintosh. The design language is simplistic and the color choices are something that I think will make all of us very happy. Matte black, space black, amber gold, and crystal silver. Personally, if I were to pick, I'd go matte black because I hate fingerprint smudges on the back of my devices. Speaking of things I don't approve of, slow phones. But the Meizu Pro 7 definitely isn't one of them. As inside, they are packing some powerful chipsets. The lower end variant of the Pro 7 has the P25, while the higher end variant and the Pro 7 Plus get the X30. Now I know many of you immediately lost interest in the phone the moment you heard MediaTek, but yep, there's a but here. While the P25 has been out for a while, the X30 is a completely new chip built on the 10nm process, and it has a cluster of dual A73 at 2.6 GHz, along with a quad-core cluster A53 at 2.2 GHz, and another power-saving 4 A35 cores at 1.9 GHz. On paper, this seems to rival the Snapdragon 835, but again, on paper doesn't always equate to reality. But this one does seem to be really promising. Rounding up the internals, we have a base 4GB RAM 64GB storage variant of the Pro 7, a higher end version with the more powerful X30, 4GB of RAM, a bumped up 128GB UFS 2.1 storage, and the Pro 7 Plus with 6GB RAM and the same high-speed 64 or 128GB storage. With the internals sorted, let us now take a look at what these chipsets will be driving. For the Pro 7, it would be a 5.2-inch 1080p Super AMOLED panel running the show, while the Pro 7 Plus gets a bumped up 5.7-inch Quad HD AMOLED display. Powering them underneath will be a 3000 mAh battery for the Pro 7, while the Plus variant gets a bumped up 3500 mAh unit instead. To keep these batteries topped off, we have Meizu's proprietary fast charging tech, M-Charge 4.0, for both the devices over a Type-C USB port. Meizu claims that with the included high-power 5V 5A charger, a Pro 7 Plus can be juiced up to 67% in just half an hour. Battery life is something that remains to be tested because while the 10nm chip should sip power, the power-hungry 2K display as well as the secondary display may lead to less than stellar day-to-day battery performance. Meizu, in an homage to their roots as an MP3 manufacturer, has included a dedicated audio DAC. So headphone output through the dedicated 3.5mm headphone jack should be stellar. Running the show on the software side should be FlyMOS. It does come with its own quirks and features, but the one button control that we've been seeing on Moto, Lenovo and ZUK devices, well, Meizu did it first and have been fine-tuning it for years now. Now we come to the optics. Interestingly, although Meizu stressed a lot on how the screen on the back was meant for enhanced selfies, the camera setup is not the telephoto lens with background blur that we have become used to in phones like the OnePlus 5 and the iPhone 7 Plus. This one's a RGB plus monochrome setup, similar to what can be found in the Honor 8 Pro. The front-facing camera is a behemoth at 16 megapixels, and it does include some tricks to merge 4 pixels into one in a bid to improve low-light photography. Love it or hate it, beauty mode also makes its return. Finally, we come to price. Prices for the lower-end variant starts at 2880 yuan, that's 27,500 rupees or $430 and the highest-end model of the Pro 7 Plus will be available at 4,080 yuan, that's 39,000 rupees or $600. In a world of cookie-cutter smartphones, the Meizu Pro 7 and 7 Plus seems like a breath of fresh air. While it may never see as many shipments as a mainstream device, phones like the Yotta phone, the Mi Mix, and now this keep pushing the boundaries of technology, and as gadget lovers, this is exactly what we'd expect from brands. What do you guys think about the Meizu Pro 7? What would you guys have changed about it? Do you like the small secondary display? Or would a larger e-ink display like on the Yotta phone would be something that you would want instead? Tell us in the comments down below. If you found this video informational and useful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to C4eTech for more videos like this. Do this to make sure you get notified each time a video goes live on the channel. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Sundar from C4eTech, leaving for the moment. Have a great day.